Hi all! In this video we talk about the newly announced age in Conan Exiles and the top features and changes that will be making it into the game soon. The next age that has just been announced will be all about war, treasure and combat. And to match the content, it has been aptly named the Age of War. To be honest, we had all kinds of guesses about the next age, and this wasn't one of them. But we think it sounds exciting and the theme is quite a change from sorcery. Yesterday's dev stream was also a bit different. Not only did we get a glimpse at what's to come with Chapter 1, but also a few hints about the Age's roadmap in general. And if you are curious, the new Age is slated for release on the 22nd of June on all platforms. The exciting news is that the new content will hit the public beta client already today for PC. At least that's the plan. So we'll be able to properly preview some of the new features for you. Now, what is coming with the Age of War? We'll for sure bring you more detailed showcases and guides in the weeks to come, but we thought we'd highlight the most important changes that were announced in the stream. Before we begin with Chapter 1, the central focus of the Age of War will be an updated combat system and an overhaul of the Purge, but more about this later. Let's talk about the main content of Chapter 1 first. Chapter 1 will introduce us to treasure hunts and the hoarding of this precious bounty. You will be able to find treasures in the world and carry them, although slowly, home to your base. This will at times be a challenging process, as treasures will often be located in areas surrounded by enemy NPCs, and of course, you might also run into dangers on your way home. Anybody can search and grab these treasures, but it was said that this would be a particular fun group activity, as other players can defend you while you're carrying the treasure. Once you arrive at your base with the treasure, you can build a treasure room to hoard all these shiny valuables. It seems this can be done by placing a dedicated coffer that, alongside a friendly scribe, keeps track of your fortune. There will be treasures of different value, and the goal is to hoard as much as possible, as you will be able to use it later as currency in Chapter 2 and 3, and acquire useful things for your base and clan. For instance, reinforcements and defensive items. Apparently, the value of your treasure room will play into the difficulty of purchase that will be a thing in Chapter 2. We're really curious to learn what that's all about. Now, it seems that there's quite a big focus on showing off the pride of your clan, not only with treasures, but also with a new workstation that lets you customize emblems for your clan. The Clan Emblem Workbench. These emblems can be displayed on newly added shields, placeable banners and similar, as well as on horse armor. There will be a variety of emblem options and colors to choose from and mix and match. In addition to these two main features of Chapter 1, the devs also talked about some significant changes to combat and weapons. There will be a major stamina revamp, which will increase the cost for jumps and especially attacks quite drastically. However, in return, you will begin to regenerate stamina almost instantly. Another key change that's coming is a new classification system for weapons. Legendaries will be overhauled to be more powerful than before. And in addition to the epic tier weapons, there will now also be a new unique tier of weapons that can be found. Playing into this will be a new durability management system, where weapons can't be endlessly repaired anymore, but lose durability with each repair instead, giving you more reasons to go out into the world and acquire new loot. Enemies have been overall rebalanced to have less HP but deal higher damage. You'll encounter new 2-skull bosses, and the difficulty of 1 to 3 skull bosses has been rebalanced across the board. The number of skulls now represents the number of players an enemy is intended for. They also added new targeting points to larger enemies, which should help with the sometimes awkward target locks on certain mobs. Let's quickly talk about other additions, changes and fixes that should make it into Chapter 1 as far as we understand it, before we talk about Chapter 2 and 3. Well, of course there will be a new Battle Pass and new Bazaar items. Items briefly shown included new armor, new workstation designs, clan banners and weapon emotes. And while not really shown off or talked about, it looks like we will get 2 more building sets, judging by the treasure room design as well as the outside of the fortress. There will be a change to how you can see in darkness. With the new H, a light will be added around your character that makes it easier to see when approaching darker areas. It won't be anything like a torch, but more like a slight adjustment to see more details in darkness. Some existing sorcery spells will be changed so you can rather toggle them on and off instead of having a limited duration. Examples given were the Wisp and Locate resource spells. A fix for the current disconnect issue is already in the works and should hopefully make it to all platforms with the H at the latest. Thrall decay timers should also have it fixed, so you won't find abandoned bases with trolls hanging up in the air anymore. Furthermore, additional server options for dropping equipment on death will be added. You can select from drop all, drop nothing and also drop only what's in your inventory. And now to the few hints we have gotten in regards to Chapter 2 and 3. It seems the biggest gameplay update that will arrive with the Age of War will be the overhaul of the Purge system. This will be coming with Chapter 2 and is closely tied to the new treasure hoarding. Apparently, the fortunes accumulated in your treasure room will now attract enemy forces that set up camp outside of your base and will attack you with all means. The value of your fortune will also dictate the difficulty of purge attacks, which sounds really interesting. The good news is that this new system will have an opt-in option. This means that you can decide when you want to encounter a purge. No waiting around anymore and no surprise attacks. One last point about bringing treasures home. It was mentioned that we can expect ambushes by relic hunter treasure seekers to be added with Chapter 2. We love the news about the revamped Purge. It sounds like this will be a lot more fun and meaningful than before. It was also said that loot from chests in the world will be more meaningful, and that you won't find any base materials like fiber and stone in them anymore. We think that's a really good change. There's nothing more disappointing than opening a chest full of branches or other junk. Other updates mentioned for Chapter 2 were a permission system for the treasure room's coffer, as well as an AI overhaul for enemies in the world. The latter refers to 2 systems. One being a limitation to the number of enemies that will engage with you at the same time. In addition to that, camps have been revamped in relation to threat behavior, meaning we won't aggro large groups or half the town of New Azagath anymore when approaching a small group. A welcome change, we would say. Finally, Chapter 3. The one big thing that was shared about Chapter 3 is that there will be a mounting enemy force in the Exile lands, namely the Stygians. While they will already begin to gather strength in Chapter 2, which we guess might be related to the Purges and your treasures, it was said that the Stygians will be building a fortress somewhere in the world in Chapter 3. What that entails remains to be seen, but we see a big fight, or shall we say war, coming to the Exile lands, and a slide shown on the screen mentioned PvE sieges. This leads us right to the next feature that was mentioned in connection with Chapter 3, and that's the possibility to create alliances with other players and clans. Apparently, once allied, the PvP damage will be reduced and target lock removed to make fighting together a lot easier. We will also be getting a new mount. We'd presume it's for Chapter 3, that said no further information was given. Last but not least, Chapter 3 will also see the addition of Fatality animations. These are combat finishers in the style of Funcom's MMO Age of Conan. We remember those really well, and let's just say, it's gonna be bloody awesome. Wow, that's a lot of news, updates and changes coming with the new Age of War. We hope we managed to sum up most of what was showcased in the dev stream, and we look forward to have a closer look at many of these features very soon. So what do you think about the new Age? Let us know in the comments, and please give us a thumbs up, subscribe and hit that bell.